I never imagined my wedding day would turn into the kind of story people whisper about over coffee in small-town diners across the American West. But there I was, standing at the altar in a historic adobe chapel nestled in the rolling hills of Northern California wine country, sweat beading under my starched collar despite the crisp autumn breeze. The sun poured through the stained glass windows, casting warm hues over the wooden pews filled with guests, ranchers, tech execs from Silicon Valley, and a smattering of my fellow teachers from the local high school. Everything was picture perfect, right down to the wildflower arrangements Emily had insisted on, evoking that rugged yet romantic vibe of the West. Emily Carter was the love of my life, a pediatric nurse practitioner who'd grown up in a family that owned vast stretches of vineyard land in Napa Valley. Her folks, William and Margaret Carter, were pillars of the community. William ran a successful winery that supplied half the restaurants in San Francisco, and Margaret chaired every charity event from here to Sacramento.
Me, I'm Alex Thompson,
A high school history teacher in a modest district, coaching the soccer team on the side. My biggest splurge was a beat-up pickup truck for hauling gear to games. We met when I rushed a student to the ER after a bad fall during practice. Emily was the one who stitched him up and then stuck around to make sure I was okay too, cracking jokes about how teachers were the real heroes. "You're steady under pressure," she'd said that night, her green eyes sparkling under the fluorescent lights. Most guys would have bolted after handing over the kid. I laughed it off. But that sparked something real. 2 years later, here we were, about to tie the knot in a ceremony that blended old Western charm with Emily's elegant touch. The reception was set at the family ranch, complete with barbecue pits, line dancing, and a sunset view that could melt your heart. As the guitarist strummed a soft acoustic version of "Here Comes the Bride," Emily appeared at the end of the aisle on her father's arm. She was stunning in a simple ivory gown with lace details, her hair in loose waves like she'd just stepped off a vineyard stroll. Her smile hit me like a ray of California sunshine, pure, unfiltered joy. But halfway down, the chapel doors swung open with a groan, and in stumbled a figure that didn't belong in anyone's fairy tale. He was an older guy, maybe mid-60s, with a wild salt and pepper beard, clothes layered like he'd grabbed them from a dumpster, faded flannel over a threadbare tee, jeans held up with twine, and boots caked in mud from God knows where. The scent of unwashed days on the road wafted in with him, mixing uneasily with the floral arrangements. Whispers rippled through the crowd. William's face tightened like a storm cloud rolling over the Sierras, and Margaret clutched her pearls as if they were a lifeline. Our hired security, a burly local named Hank who'd worked ranches his whole life, moved in quick. "Sir, this is a private event," he said, voice low but firm. "The way you'd handle a stray coyote." The man didn't fight. He just stared at Emily with eyes wide as saucers, like he'd seen a ghost from his past. But Emily froze, her bouquet trembling. "Hold on, Hank," she called out, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife.
I
think I know him," William hissed under his breath. "Emily, what the hell? We need to get this sorted, now." But she wasn't hearing it. Her eyes locked on the stranger, and recognition dawned on her face like the first light over the Pacific. "Mr. Jenkins? Is that you?" The man's shoulders slumped, and tears carved paths through the grime on his cheeks. "Emily. Little Emily Carter. You look like an angel." "I'm sorry. I shouldn't be here." Saw the wedding notice in the local paper. Couldn't stay away. The chapel fell silent as a ghost town. Guests shifted uncomfortably, tech moguls in tailored suits next to cowboys in their Sunday best, all staring at this unfolding drama. Emily handed her flowers to her sister, the maid of honor, and stepped toward him, her gown whispering against the stone floor. Then, in a move that sucked the air out of the room, she wrapped her arms around him. "Mr. Jenkins," she murmured, voice thick with emotion. "I've wondered about you for years. What happened?" I stood there at the altar. My best man, Mike, nudging me. "Alex, you got any clue what's going on?" I shook my head, heart pounding. Emily had shared stories of her wild childhood, rebellious phases, skipping school, but never mentioned anyone like this. Who was this guy? And why was my bride hugging a homeless man in the middle of our wedding? She pulled back, wiping her eyes, and turned to the crowd. "Everyone, this is Mr. Robert Jenkins. He was my teacher back in elementary school, right here in Napa. He changed everything for me." Murmurs spread like wildfire. Emily's parents looked ready to bolt, but she pressed on. I was a mess as a kid. Mom and Dad were always buried in the winery business, harvest seasons, tour deals. I felt invisible, acted out failing classes, picking fights, running with the wrong crowd. Teachers wrote me off as a spoiled rich kid. But not Mr. Jenkins. She glanced at him, and he managed a shaky smile. He saw past the attitude. Stayed late to tutor me. Ate lunch with me when no one else would. Pushed me into science fairs. Convinced my parents to get me therapy. Wrote letters that got me into college. Without him, I wouldn't be a nurse. Saving kids' lives every day. My chest tightened. This wasn't some random intruder. This was the guy who'd pulled Emily from the brink, shaped her into the compassionate woman I loved. But what had brought him to this? "Mr. Jenkins," Emily asked softly, "where have you been? I tried tracking you down after nursing school to thank you. The district said you'd retired early. Vanished." His voice cracked. "Lost my world. Emily. My wife. She passed in a car accident on Highway 29, 10 years back. Drunk driver. Our son was with her, didn't make it. I broke. Couldn't face the classroom. The kids. Reminded me too much of what I'd lost. Lost the house to bills. Ended up on the streets. Been drifting ever since, odd jobs. Shelters when I can." The silence was deafening. Emily's hand covered her mouth, tears flowing. "I'm so sorry. I had no idea." He waved it off. "Don't be." "Seeing you now. Successful. Happy. It's enough." But Emily's mind was racing. I could see it. She looked at me, then her parents, then the guests. "Mr. Jenkins, stay. Please. See me get married." Gasps echoed. Margaret whispered furiously. "Emily, think about this. The guests, the photos." William's face was thunder. But Emily stood firm. "No. He's family, the kind that matters." She turned to me, eyes pleading for backup. I thought of the Emily I knew, volunteering at free clinics, fighting for underprivileged kids in the ER. This was her, through and through. I stepped forward, offering my hand. "Mr. Jenkins, I'm Alex." Honored to meet the man who believed in Emily when no one else did. His grip was frail, but real. "I don't deserve this," he muttered. "I'm a mess." "You're welcome here," I said. Turning to the crowd, I announced, "Folks, let's take a quick break. Stretch your legs. Grab some water from the courtyard. We'll pick up in half an hour." The next 30 minutes were chaos in the best Western way. Hank found a back room with a sink, Mike dug out spare clothes from his truck, a clean shirt.
Jeans.
Emily's cousin loaned a jacket. Another guest boots. We pieced together an outfit. Nothing fancy, but decent. Mr. Jenkins emerged looking like a man reborn, clean-shaven where he could. Hair combed, dignity restored. As we regrouped, about a third of the guests had dipped out, probably the stuffy types. But those who stayed, like Emily's hospital crew and my teacher buddies, seemed touched. Emily took Mr. Jenkins' arm. "Would you walk me the rest of the way?" William looked gutted, but nodded stiffly, maybe realizing this was bigger than pride. The ceremony resumed under that golden California light, but the air hummed with a new energy, like the calm after a summer storm in the valleys. Mr. Jenkins stood tall beside Emily, his borrowed jacket a bit loose, but his eyes shone with something I hadn't seen before: purpose. William stepped aside gracefully, though I caught the flicker of hurt in his eyes. The guitarist picked up where we'd left off, and as Emily approached on Mr. Jenkins' arm, the guests who remained leaned forward, captivated by this twist of fate. When the minister asked, "Who gives this woman to be married?" Mr. Jenkins cleared his throat. "I do," he said, voice steady as an oak. "I've watched Emily grow from a spirited girl full of fire to a woman who heals the broken. It's my privilege to hand her to a man worthy of her heart." He placed her hand in mine, and I squeezed it, feeling the weight of the moment. Emily's vows came next, her voice trembling but strong. "Alex, you've shown me love that's as vast as these hills, unwavering, full of adventure.
But today,
You've proven it's about more than us. It's about lifting others up, no matter where they come from. My turn. Emily, you're my compass in this wild world. I'll stand by you through every unexpected turn, because love like ours builds bridges, not walls." We exchanged rings, simple bands engraved with a quote from a favorite Western poet, and the minister pronounced us husband and wife. The applause erupted, raw and real, like a crowd at a rodeo cheering a comeback kid. The reception kicked off at the Carter Ranch, a sprawling spread with oak trees strung with lights, long tables laden with tri-tip barbecue, fresh salads from the garden, and cases of the family's Cabernet. But the vibe had shifted. Instead of polite chit-chat, conversations buzzed about Mr. Jenkins. Emily made sure he was at our table, plate piled high with food he hadn't seen in years. "Try the ribs," she urged. "Dad smokes them himself." He ate slowly, savoring, as guests approached cautiously at first, then warmly.
Dr.
Ramirez, Emily's boss from the clinic in Sacramento,
pulled up a chair.
"Heard you taught in the public schools here. Tough gig. What kept you going?" Mr. Jenkins smiled faintly. "The kids. Like Emily, they're diamonds in the rough. You just gotta polish 'em." My principal, S. Lopez, joined in, sharing stories of burnout in education. Even Margaret thought a bit. Offering him a glass of wine, he politely declined, opting for water. William hovered, eventually sitting down. "I owe you an apology," he said gruffly. Didn't know the half of it with Emily back then. As the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in oranges and pinks, the band struck up country tunes. Emily danced with her dad first, a stiff but heartfelt two-step, then with Mr. Jenkins. He moved awkwardly at first, but soon found his rhythm, laughing as she twirled. "Haven't danced since, well, a long time," he admitted. I cut in for our first dance, holding Emily close. "You okay with all this?" I whispered. She nodded. More than okay. This feels right, like we're starting our life with real meaning. But whispers of drama lingered. A few relatives pulled William aside, murmuring about optics and what people will say. One aunt even suggested calling the sheriff discreetly, just in case. Emily overheard and shut it down. He's not a threat, he's a hero. And in California, we've got laws protecting the vulnerable, not shunning them. She was right. Our state's got strong homeless rights initiatives. And this was private property anyway. No legal mess. Just human kindness. As night fell, toasts began. Mike went first, joking about my teacher's salary funding the honeymoon, a road trip down the Pacific Coast Highway. Then Emily surprised us by handing the mic to Mr. Jenkins. He stood, clearing his throat, the crowd quieting under the string lights. I've spent decades in classrooms, from dusty one-room schools in the Central Valley to urban spots in Oakland. Teaching isn't about books, it's about igniting sparks in souls that feel dimmed. He looked at Emily. You were one of those sparks, fierce, but flickering. Folks said you were trouble, but I saw potential.
Stayed after to help with math.
Pushed you toward nursing dreams. Watched you bloom. His voice wavered. Then life hit me like a flash flood. Lost my family in that wreck, wife and boy gone in an instant. Grief swallowed me whole. Quit teaching. Lost the house to foreclosure. Streets became home, panhandling in San Francisco. Sleeping under bridges. The guests leaned in, some dabbing eyes. But tonight, seeing Emily thrive,
Loved.
it reignites my own spark. Reminds me that kindness echoes. We plant seeds, and they grow in ways we can't predict. He raised his glass. To Emily and Alex, may your union be a beacon in the West, showing that family ain't just blood. It's the folks who lift you when you're down. And may we all remember, second chances ain't charity. They're the heart of what makes us human. Applause thundered. Glasses clinking. Even the skeptics seemed moved. As the party wound down, Emily and I stole a moment under an old oak. What now for him? I asked. She smiled. We help. Starting tonight, we offered Mr. Jenkins a guest room at the ranch. William reluctantly agreed and promised to connect him with local vet services. He'd served in the Army Reserves and housing programs. California's got solid resources. Transitional housing. Mental health support under Medi-Cal. No quick fixes, but a path forward. That night, as we drove off in my decorated pickup, waving sparklers lighting the way, I glanced back. Mr. Jenkins stood with the Carters, silhouetted against the ranch lights. Our wedding hadn't been the polished affair we'd planned. It was raw, dramatic, full of Western grit. But it felt authentic, like the land itself, resilient, open to redemption. Over the next weeks, we dove in. Emily took time off to help Mr. Jenkins navigate paperwork, getting him ID, enrolling in grief counseling through a Napa nonprofit. I used my teacher connections to link him with adult ed programs. He resisted at first. I've been a burden too long. But we pushed gently. You're not a burden, Emily said. You're unfinished business for all of us. Life after the wedding settled into a rhythm, but Mr. Jenkins became the unexpected thread weaving through it. We honeymooned along the coast, Big Sur Cliffs, Monterey Whales, but our minds often drifted back to him. Emily checked in daily via text. The Carters had set him up in their guest cottage, a cozy spot overlooking the vineyards. William, to his credit, warmed up, sharing morning coffee and stories of Vietnam-era service that bonded them. Back home in our modest bungalow in Sonoma, bought with Emily's savings and my teacher grit, We made a plan. California's homeless crisis is no joke. Laws like AB 1220 protect rights to shelter. But bureaucracy can drag. We started with basics: a doctor's visit covered by emergency Medi-Cal, addressing malnutrition and old injuries from street life. "You've got resilience," the doc said. Mr. Jenkins chuckled. "Comes from hurting fourth graders." Emotionally, it was tougher. Grief counseling at a local center, group sessions for lost survivors, cracked open old wounds. "Nights are the worst," he confessed over dinner one evening, as we grilled burgers in our backyard. "Dream about my boy, what he'd be now." Emily squeezed his hand. "You're allowed to grieve. But you're also allowed to live." We encouraged small steps, volunteering at the community garden, where he taught kids about soil and growth, echoing his old classroom days. Drama simmered in the family. Margaret fretted about appearances, whispers at charity galas about the homeless guest at the wedding. One cousin even suggested a background check, citing liability laws. Emily shut it down firmly. "He's clean, no record. And under California law, we're not liable for helping someone off the streets. It's encouraged." William backed her.
Surprisingly,
Man's earned his keep. "Helped me fix the irrigation system yesterday, smarter than half my crew." As months passed, Mr. Jenkins transformed. Clean clothes became habit. He trimmed his beard, gained weight. We helped him apply for Social Security, delayed by lost documents. But persistent calls to the SSA office paid off. He landed a part-time gig at the local library, tutoring ESL students. "Feels good to teach again," he said. "These folks remind me of Emily, hungry to learn, despite the odds." Our own life bloomed too. Emily's clinic work ramped up, treating migrant kids in the valleys, advocating for better healthcare access. I coached a winning season, inspired by Mr. Jenkins' stories of motivating underdogs. But tension brewed when old habits surfaced. One night, he vanished, panicked. We searched shelters in Santa Rosa. Found him at a bus stop. "Bait picked. Can't keep imposing," he muttered. Emily knelt beside him. "You're not imposing. You're family. We choose this." That breakthrough led to deeper talks. He shared more about the accident, a foggy night on the highway. The other driver cited for DUI under strict California laws. No justice felt enough. "Anger ate me alive," he admitted. We connected him with a support group for accident survivors, where he found solace in shared stories. Legally, we helped file for victims' compensation, long overdue. But the state's fund provided a small payout for counseling. Holidays brought warmth. Thanksgiving at the ranch, Mr. Jenkins carved the turkey, regaling us with tales of school feasts. Christmas. He gifted Emily a handmade journal, pages filled with encouragement quotes. "Like the notes I used to slip in your backpack." Tears flowed, but healing ones. Then came the curveball. Emily discovered she was pregnant, unexpected, joyous. "A little ranch runner," I joked, spinning her around. We told Mr. Jenkins over a picnic in the hills. His eyes misted. A new life. After all this. But doubt crept in. What if I'm not grandpa material? Emily hugged him. You already are. Pregnancy wasn't smooth, morning sickness, work stress. Mr. Jenkins stepped up, driving her to appointments, cooking simple meals from his street survival recipes, nutritious, cheap. William noticed, pulling me aside. Didn't see this coming. But he's good for her. For us. Family therapy followed, suggested by Emily, to mend old rifts. Sessions revealed her childhood neglect, parents' whinery demands leaving her adrift. Mr. Jenkins filled that gap, she said. Margaret broke down. We failed you. Forgiveness flowed. Slow as wine aging. By spring, Mr. Jenkins had his own apartment, subsidized housing in Napa, thanks to Section 8 vouchers. He taught full-time now, at a continuation school for at-risk teens. They're me.
Years ago, he said.
Lost, but salvageable. Drama peaked when a former colleague recognized him at a conference. Old rumors of his breakdown. He faced it head-on. Life knocked me down, but kindness lifted me up. Our baby boy, Lucas, arrived on a balmy June day. Mr. Jenkins was in the waiting room, pacing like a new dad. Holding him later, he whispered, "You've got fighters for parents, kiddo." It hit me, this man, once broken, now whole, teaching us all about resilience. But life tests. Emily's postpartum blues hit hard, hormones,
Exhaustion.
Mr. Jenkins noticed first, seen it in young moms I taught. He arranged help, local support groups under California's maternal health initiatives. You're strong, but it's okay to lean. William and Margaret joined in, babysitting shifts mending generational gaps. One evening, as Lucas napped, we reflected on the wedding chaos. Best Dieter ever, I said. Mr. Jenkins nodded. Showed me redemption's real, not just in books. The drama of that day had faded, replaced by quiet bonds. In the West, where frontiers symbolize fresh starts, we'd forged a family from fragments. With Lucas growing like a weed, crawling across our hardwood floors by 8 months, the rhythm of our lives deepened. Mr. Jenkins became a fixture. Weekend visits to the bungalow, pushing the stroller through Sonoma's farmers markets, pointing out birds and teaching baby sign language. Early education starts now, he'd say with a wink. Emily thrived back at work, her clinic expanding services for rural families, inspired by Mr. Jenkins' tales of underserved kids. But echoes of drama resurfaced. A local paper ran a feel-good story on our wedding, homeless hero honored at Vineyard Vows, but it stirred backlash. Anonymous online comments accused us of stunt publicity, questioning Mr. Jenkins' past. Check his record, one sneered. Emily fumed. Ignorant trolls. We consulted a lawyer friend. California's defamation laws protect against baseless claims. But we chose grace over lawsuits. Mr. Jenkins shrugged it off. Sticks and stones.
Eve survived verse.
He dove deeper into community work, partnering with Habitat for Humanity to build homes. Ironic.
Given his past.
Paying it forward, he called it. Legally, we helped him expunge minor vagrancy tickets from his street days, clearing his record for teaching certifications. Fresh slate, the judge said, nodding approvingly. Family dynamics evolved. William invited Mr. Jenkins on a winery tour, bonding over grape varietals and life lessons. You saved my daughter when I couldn't, William admitted over a tasting. Margaret softened too, knitting baby blankets and sharing recipes. One tense moment, a cousin's barbecue where old prejudices bubbled. How do we know he's stable? She whispered. Emily overheard, addressing the group. Stability comes from support, not suspicion. California's got laws ensuring fair housing, no discrimination against the formerly homeless. Lucas' first birthday was a ranch blowout. Piñatas. Hayrides. Guests from all walks. Mr. Jenkins organized games, his teacher instincts shining. Toasts turned emotional, Emily crediting him for her path to motherhood. You taught me empathy. Now I pass it to my son. Challenges persisted. Mr. Jenkins hit a grief wall on the accident anniversary, isolating. Skipping sessions. We intervened gently. A drive to the coast. Scattering symbolic flowers in the ocean. Healing ain't linear, Emily said, drawing from her nursing wisdom. Here abound. Thanks to you. I've got anchors now. Our circle widened. My students heard the story anonymized. Inspiring a school drive for homeless vets. Emily's clinic hosted workshops with Mr. Jenkins speaking on resilience. Drama flared when a funding cut threatened the program. Bureaucratic red tape under state health codes. We rallied, petitions, calls to assembly members. Success came, reinforcing our bond. 2 years post-wedding. Emily suggested therapy for Mr. Jenkins and the Carters, addressing unspoken resentments. Sessions revealed layers. William's guilt over Emily's childhood. Mr. Jenkins' survivor shame. Tears led to hugs. Forging deeper ties. Lucas adored Papa Bob, Mr. Jenkins' nickname. They'd garden together, planting tomatoes in our yard. Life cycles, he'd explain simply. One night, as stars blanketed the sky, we barbecued. Mr. Jenkins shared a poem he'd written about rising from ashes. Western style. You all gave me wings when I was grounded. Reflecting, the wedding shock had birthed growth.
Not event.
Just redemption, a drama resolved in humanity. We'd learned, family expands with open hearts. Law supports the vulnerable. And life's twists reveal hidden strengths. Word count, 578. Wait. This is shorter, combining with extension for full 1,000. Extending narrative. As time marched, more milestones. Lucas' first words, Papa. Emily's promotion to clinic director. Mr. Jenkins published a memoir snippet in a local journal, Raw. Inspiring submissions from readers. Drama? A health scare. His checkup revealed high blood pressure. Managed with Medi-Cal-covered meds. Aging gracefully, he joked. Holidays solidified traditions. 4th of July fireworks at the ranch. Mr. Jenkins grilling and sharing army stories. Thanksgiving pies baked together.
Christmas.
He gifted Lucas a wooden train, hand-carved. From scraps to something special, he said, mirroring his journey. In quiet moments, Emily and I marveled. That wedding crash? Best thing ever, she'd say. I'd agree. Turned us into better people. Mr. Jenkins' presence taught patience. Empathy, lessons for Lucas too. By year 3, he mentored at-risk youth full-time. His apartment a hub for study groups. We celebrated his sobriety milestone, 10 years off the streets. A small party. Toasts to second acts. The West spirit, pioneering, forgiving, infused our story.
No feritare.
But real. Drama met with compassion. Law as ally. Humanity prevailing. Years blended like the fog rolling into Napa's valleys. Our family tapestry richer for the threads Mr. Jenkins wove. Lucas, now 5, shadowed him like a pup, learning to fish in local streams, hearing tales of California's gold rush days twisted into moral fables. Histories about people, not dates, Mr. Jenkins would say, echoing my classroom ethos. Emily's clinic flourished, partnering with schools for health screenings, Mr. Jenkins volunteered, bridging education and care. Lingering drama?
Rare.
But real. A family reunion stirred old judgments from distant relatives. Still housing that drifter? William defended fiercely. His kin earned it. Emily cited California's kinship care laws, emphasizing chosen family. Tensions eased with time, acceptance growing like vines. Mr. Jenkins' health stabilized, but age crept in, arthritis from rough years. We adapted accessible mods to his place via state grants. He gave back, speaking at conferences on homelessness reform. Policy matters. But people change lives, he'd argue, referencing our story. Lucas' school plays became highlights, Mr. Jenkins' coaching lines, beaming from the audience. Proud grandpa, he'd say. Emily, and I welcomed a daughter.
Mia.
2 years back, another bundle strengthening bonds. Mr. Jenkins held her first. New beginnings keep coming, reflecting on that wedding crash. It's a cornerstone. The shock, homeless intruder halting vows, led to revelation. Emily's savior unmasked. Chaos birthed compassion. We cleaned him up, included him, rebuilt his life. Legally sound, no violations, just ethical uplift under Western values.
The ending?
Not dramatic fireworks, but quiet wisdom. Mr. Jenkins lives independently, teaching part-time, surrounded by love. Our family gatherings, ranch barbecues, coastal hikes, pulse with gratitude. The lesson, light yet profound, in life's storms. Extend a hand. Everyone's worth a second chance. Kindness ripples, healing wounds, forging unbreakable ties. Like the resilient West, we rise. Together, proof that unexpected guests can complete the picture, turning ordinary unions into extraordinary legacies. As Mia toddled and Lucas questioned the world, Mr. Jenkins' stories evolved, incorporating modern twists, like climate impacts on vineyards. Emily advocated for mental health bills in Sacramento. Mr. Jenkins testifying, from streets to stability, thanks to belief. A milestone, his 70th birthday bash at the ranch. Guests from past and present, students he'd taught, shelter friends, our circle. Toasts flowed, Emily's. You saved me, we saved each other. Mine, families chosen. Resilient. Health hiccups arose, a minor stroke. Swiftly treated under Medicare. Rehab? We rallied. Emily coordinating care. Team effort, he quipped.
Now.
Evenings find us stargazing, Mr. Jenkins pointing constellations. Weaving myths with life lessons. Stars fall, but new ones shine. Our story's moral, embrace the unforeseen, humanity trumps convention. In America's West, where horizons stretch endless, so does hope, nurtured by compassion. Grounded in law, blooming in love. No regrets from that wedding day. It wasn't perfect by society's script, but by heart's measure, flawless. A testament. One act of inclusion can rewrite destinies, teaching that redemption's not rare, it's reachable. One open door at a time.